Welcome back to It's a Tool Thing. Today with a bit of an update video on strapping transmissions down and a couple of bits of information. This happens to be an Allison 640 series, kind of old technology, but it all applies, be it automotive or the MDHT series, LCT series in the Allison, Eaton auto shifts. A lot of these concepts will still apply. One thing you guys should remember, anytime you put an Allison in, you're supposed to lube the button up with a specific type of grease. It's a wheel bearing grease that we use that meets the specification. I don't know what the spec is right off the top of my head. The first thing I was going to address is picking them up. I tend to use these OTC lifting eyes. I actually had to modify them, not for this application necessarily. They only have a 1/2 inch hole, which a 9/16 bolt would fit through. But I modified them so that a 5/8 bolt would go through them. In this case, obviously, that's only a 3/8 bolt, and it's a 1/2 inch bolt in the back here. But that's generally how I like to pick them up. Some of them I will use the bolt in the flange. Some of them I'll use this bolt here. But generally speaking, I use a 2-point lifting system. I've got these lifting chains here. These are actually my personal chains. Pardon poor camera work as usual. And see if I can get these things away. What I like about these chains is they're adjustable in length. If I can slip those off, maybe set them on the ground or something. Give you something to look at here for just a second. So these chains here, they're adjustable in length, so I can adjust to help level things out depending on the application and the best pick points that I can come up with. I really do like these chains. The shop used to have a set of them, but they actually decommissioned them because they don't have the clips and they can't find them. These actually don't have the clips either, the safety retaining clips, but they're my personal ones, so unless they want to buy me a new set. Another thing is, normally people would install the transmission onto the jack with the torque converter on this side over here. In some applications, that's the only way you can do it. But I actually prefer what I call reverse cowgirl, and that is putting the converter towards the controls. It makes it a little more awkward to operate the controls, but when you're working underneath the truck and limited access, it gives you better access from the rear to be able to get on top of the transmission, being as there's nothing in the way. If not, you have to straddle that transmission jack. So this is the update portion right here. I talked about this ratchet strap in one of my early videos. I prefer these wider ones. I think they're 1.5 inch wide band on them over the narrower inch bands. The narrow ones will work, but I do find that they get a little more slop going in them. This one's actually not particularly tight right at the moment. This transmission sits on here pretty good, but when you're actually trying to position the transmission under the truck, they can slip off. Another thing I do here, I don't know if you can see that up front, but I usually put either a diaper or some rags underneath. It works double. It actually gives you a little bit of friction, but if you have to, you can still move it on the jack slightly if necessary. As you can see here, I have this thing backwards hooked in there. Like I said, it's not actually really tight at the moment, but I modify these ratchet straps and replace the leader on this side with a chain. I found that putting washers in it to keep the chain centered also helps. But the real advantage with the chain, as you can see now, that ratchet strap's about halfway up the transmission. But I can take this ratchet strap, let me unlock it here, and I could move it down closer to the transmission if that's what it warranted. But also, and this might be a little tricky to do with just one hand. Once again, pardon the poor camera work here. Now I've added the rest of that length of chain onto this strap. It's going to be a little awkward to do with one hand here. So as you can see now, using that chain, I was able to move the ratchet strap from being at this point here. I could have lowered it down all the way to here if need be, but also I could take it all the way up to the top of the transmission. Which allows, if you have clearance in this particular application, it wouldn't be ideal. But if this is a spot that's open, let's say you have a cab over, you could put the strap clear up here instead of down on the side where the frame rail is. So it allows a lot of maneuverability, because one of the problems with using a ratchet strap is they tend to get stuck. Because you got the limited lead length, either it's too high or too low, and that ratchet strap with the chain on it allows you to adjust that. I tend to have the chain approximately half of the product, half of the item I'm strapping down is what I like. I have multiples of these. Some of them have heavier chain. This chain seems to work fine just as well. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Have a great day. Comment below.